Welcome to GOlive TV, the future in your hands. The only multicultural IPTV station that brings communities together. Over 2.7 million people have already watched. GOlive TV, anytime, anywhere.
Ora, bem-vindos a mais uma edição, tudo em Toronto e de Manuel, Alexandre, nesta grande metrópole chamada Toronto, província de Ontário, do país Canadá, para todos vocês, através das ondas do GOlive TV. Tem sido com um grande prazer que nós temos trazido aqui várias pessoas a serem entrevistadas. Hoje vamos ter o privilégio de uma pessoa que é muito conhecida, além, portanto, de ser um host do rádio, de umas estações de rádio do 640 AM, com mais prestígio aqui na província de Ontário, pois vamos tê-lo aqui connosco, um homem que concorreu também para mayor da cidade de Toronto, ficou em quarto lugar, de 40 pessoas, ele ficou em quarto lugar, uma pessoa que eu achei muito interessante trazê-lo aqui. Hoje, entretanto, além dessa entrevista, vamos falar um bocadinho sobre as eleições nos Açores e vamos ver um pequeno vídeo de Unhais da Serra, os Zabumbas, só para descontrair um pouco a nossa programação, está bem? Iremos tentar falar um bocadinho sobre o nosso primeiro-ministro Justin Trudeau a tentar influenciar nos canadianos e ao mesmo tempo nas eleições americanas. Vamos falar um bocadinho sobre isso se me der tempo. Se não der, iremos para a semana que vem desenvolver esse tema, pois hoje, muito importante, com o convidado que temos aqui. Meus amigos, iremos também falar um bocadinho acerca do World Economic Forum, ou seja, o World Fórum Económico Mundial, falar um bocadinho, ler um bocadinho, por vezes, opiniões de várias pessoas que são muito importantes e nós pensamos que os governos às vezes sabem tudo e não sabem nada. Tem que ouvir as pessoas que votaram por eles, muitos deles, e outros que não votaram, mas que gostariam de ver as coisas alteradas de uma forma diferente. De maneira que é esta a nossa programação de hoje, que vai acontecer, de maneira que passem esta mensagem, o nosso programa, façam um share com os vossos amigos e inimigos, até pode ser que os inimigos, após verem a nossa programação, fiquem contentes com vocês, está bem? Pois vamos então ao pequeno comercial e voltamos já. Até já.
Welcome to GOlive TV, the future in your hands. The only multicultural IPTV station that brings communities together. Over 2.7 million people have already watched. GOlive TV, anytime, anywhere.
Olá, eu sou Manuel Alexandre, estou aqui no GOlive TV, a televisão que fala a minha língua. Ora, bem-vindos então, vamos agora desenvolver alguns dos temas que há pouco referi, sobre a nossa programação de hoje, no dia 8 de fevereiro de 2024. Parabéns aos Açores, parabéns que finalmente está a acontecer umas alterações, umas mudanças pelo mundo, onde o Partido Socialista tem sido envolvido em muita corrupção por todo o lado do Portugal. E, finalmente, começando pelo povo açoriano, que finalmente votou na Aliança Democrática, que é a conjunção dos partidos do PSD, do CDS e do PPM. Foi na altura fundado pelo nosso falecido Sá Carneiro, em 1979 que foi fundado. De maneira que o AD, a Aliança Democrática, foi formada pelo Sá Carneiro em 1979 e finalmente está a ganhar aquela pujança necessária para que possa levar o Portugal, para que possa levar os Açores para iniciar a um lado mais correto, a um lado onde a direita está realmente a controlar, vai controlar um pouco mais o que está a acontecer pela desgraça de Portugal e pelas ilhas também. A corrupção. E nós sabemos, já há três primeiros ministros portugueses do socialista, aonde foram envolvidos em corrupção, e o último sendo então o nosso António Costa. Meus amigos, que os portugueses comecem a acordar e vendo que o Partido Socialista está corrupto e as pessoas que vão para ali estão a tentar ajeitarem-se e a ajeitarem-se a eles próprios e a acomodarem-se à bolsa deles e não acomodarem-se à bolsa do contribuinte, do votante, do eleitorado. Vão para ali por interesse próprio e finalmente os Açores está a dar uma lição de moral, assim se possa dizer, através destas eleições, onde foi uma bofetada ao Partido Socialista. Desta forma, a Alternativa Democrática, nos Açores, eu vou só ler aqui os números, no caso você não tivesse reparado, ganharam por 42,08%, o PS por 35,91% e o Chega 9,19%. Portanto, a Aliança Democrática não tem a maioria só por 3 elementos. Pode ser que, de alguma forma ou outra, quando tiverem assim grandes problemas a resolver para os Açores, realmente considerem, façam algo, mesmo que seja com a ajuda do Chega. Que é certo, porém, é que esta parte de interesses próprios, esta parte de corrupção, que realmente começa a ser eliminada em Portugal e já está a ser começada nos Açores. Há grandes Açores. Olha, deixa-me dar os parabéns aos açorianos, àqueles que votaram, porque finalmente estão a acordar. E o Portugal continental, no dia 10, e o resto do Portugal também, dia 10 de março, que acordem. O Portugal inteiro, ilhas e tudo, que acordem que o PS está realmente a danificar o respeito que Portugal tinha. Agora é conhecido mais por um país corrupto. Alô, mas como é que é? Não há alguém ali naquele Partido Socialista que diga assim, nós vamos fazer coisas no país Portugal, ou nos Açores, ou províncias, vamos fazer algo, seja na Madeira, seja nos Açores, seja no continente, vamos fazer algo devido, algo que não diga nada, que tenha a ver nada com a corrupção, meus amigos. E agora na Madeira, como se ouviu também, como se ouviu também, isto tudo tem que acabar. E o Chega está também a pôr pressão neles, e seja na Assembleia em Lisboa, que realmente a corrupção tem que ser chamada à atenção e tem que acabar. Nós sabemos que não é só em Portugal que há corrupção, mas há já países a mudarem para o lado direito, porque o lado esquerdo, a parte socialista, está a ser corrupta. Isso é importante, nós não esquecemos essa parte. E no dia 10 de março, vamos chamar a atenção de todos os portugueses, antecipadamente, de irem ao voto para que realmente pensem e repensem para quem vão votar. Esta é uma maneira mais categórica de falar nas eleições de Portugal. Segundo as sondagens, não é verdade? Como li a semana passada, onde o PS está ainda à frente por 3 ou 4 pontos. Mas vamos a uma coisa, será que Portugal não entende exatamente o que é corrupção? Há uma dá uns bons benefícios. Não dão nada a bons benefícios, meus amigos. Não estão a dar bons benefícios. Estão a dar benefícios aos corruptos e aos políticos que pertencem ao Partido Socialista. De maneira que, nesse aí, é importante que realmente seja feito. E os partidos socialistas têm tentado governar os Açores já há uma série de anos e finalmente foram postos fora. E o PSD, ou a Aliança Democrática, só não apanhou a maioria lá por 3 membros, de maneira que paciência. Trabalhar em conjunto, isso é que é bom Por vezes é bom que não haja a maioria num partido para que realmente depois possa discutir entre uns e outros e chegar a uma resolução que é muito importante. Não é só mandar bocas para o ar e nada se faz. Não. É preciso pensar e repensar, não há corrupção, vamos todos a contribuir para que os Açores tenham sucesso, para que a Madeira tenha sucesso e que o continente tenha sucesso também. Pois esta é a parte que eu queria realmente trazer aqui a vossa atenção, porque isto são palavras e são situações que realmente nós temos que nos capacitar o que está a acontecer. E se não tomarmos conta, a mesma coisa aqui do Canadá, que é da parte esquerdista, socialista, liberal, e que realmente vamos falar um bocadinho depois com o nosso amigo Anthony Fury, é o homem, portanto, como há pouco anunciei, está a ser o host de uma estação de rádio mais prestigiosa aqui no Canadá, aqui no Ontário, que é o 640 AM, ou 640 AM, entre as 9 e o meio-dia. Ele nestas últimas 2, 3 semanas tem lá estado e têm sido tópicos bem puxados, tópicos bem falados, que é importante que as pessoas realmente comecem a considerar quando nós formos a votos para o ano que vem, se não for antecipado, ao menos que a gente tenha a consciência daquilo que está a acontecer agora. Corrupções e não só. Vamos ler aqui uma notícia que aqui no Canadá, aqui na província do Ontário, meus amigos, anteontem, numa cidade chamada Belleville, que é 1h30 daqui de Toronto, para o lado este, 13 jovens foram para o hospital de emergência com overdose. Uma cidade que tem 50 mil pessoas. Belleville é uma cidade que tem 50 mil pessoas. E de repente, 13 jovens, drogados, overdose. Meus amigos, a gente pode usar termos mais delicados para decifrar um drogado, mas vamos usar os temas. É a importância que eu gosto aqui, é a maneira que eu gosto, é trazer as palavras para que toda a gente compreenda e não andar à volta e ninguém compreende nada. O português é o mais simples possível aqui usado no programa Today Toronto de Manuel Alexandre. De maneira que 13 jovens foram para a emergência do hospital com overdose, drogados, overdose. Meus amigos, numa cidade de 50 mil pessoas, houve trânsito que realmente teve que ser parado, a polícia teve que vir para a rua a dirigir o tráfego para que portanto, para que as ambulâncias pudessem andar a alta velocidade a caminho do hospital. Foram 13 jovens. Mas o que é que está a passar neste país, Canadá, que eu nunca ouvi tal? O que é que está a passar com esta juventude? O que é que está a passar com este governo federal que está a perder o controle em tudo? Desde que a marihuana foi legalizada, e uma vez tivemos aqui um dos diretores diretamente de Portugal, da legalização, onde Portugal decriminalizou a droga. E o que é que isso quer dizer? Não é crime estar a fumar, mas se é apanhado a vender, você vai para a cadeia. E é assim que devia ser aqui no Canadá. No Canadá, fizeram coisas totalmente diferentes para que o nosso Justin Trudeau, em 2015, conseguisse ganhar as eleições, porque havia muita gente com registro criminal devido às drogas que usavam. Portugal reabilitou essas pessoas. Não os mandou para a cadeia, reabilitou. E os Portugal, um dos diretores que já esteve aqui na nossa programação, falou sobre esse caso e falou a importância que todos os países do mundo realmente consigam livrar a nossa juventude da droga e o vício da droga. De maneira que esta é uma notícia que eu queria dar a vocês, que isto vai pelo mundo inteiro, e no caso de você não tivesse ouvido, realmente isto são situações que a gente sente tristeza. Já viu o que é ter um filho de 14, 15, 16 anos, ir para o hospital overdose, quase a morrer? Meu amigo, isto é uma dor que qualquer pai ou qualquer mãe no coração que nós nem queremos imaginar. Eu tinha muito mais para falar, mas vamos a fazer uma pequena programação, vamos a fazer um pequeno um intervalo pequenito e depois vamos voltar então com o nosso convidado de hoje, que para mim é uma honra muito grande tê-lo aqui, é um prazer. So after the program, we're going to start to talk with our guest, Mr. Anthony Fury. It's a great honor for me to talk to him. It's not really an interview. It's just to talk about politics, to talk about what's happening over here in Toronto, in the City Hall, na Câmara de Toronto, the City Hall. What's happening in there with the new mayor, and what are his visions for Canada? And this, as I said a while ago, is the host of one of the most prestigious radio stations, 6:40 a.m. We're going to talk to him. We're going to see what he thinks where Canada is guiding as well. Vamos a um pequeno comercial, voltamos já, está bem?
Bem-vindos à GOlive TV, a primeira estação IPTV intercultural que transmite mais de 50 programas em 22 idiomas diferentes. Aqui na GOlive TV, você também pode reservar seu evento em nossos estúdios. Temos disponíveis green screen, cenários variados, uma cozinha totalmente equipada, estúdio de notícias, estúdio fotográfico, palco com video wall, uma estação de rádio e podcast, e muito mais. GOlive TV é a única multimídia que reúne em apenas um lugar tudo o que você precisa para levar o seu evento com um alto nível. Reserve agora GOlive TV a qualquer hora e em qualquer lugar.
Olá, eu sou Manuel Alexandre, estou aqui no GOlive TV, a televisão que fala a minha língua. Ora, bem-vindos novamente aqui à nossa edição Today Toronto de Manuel Alexandre. Ora bem, vamos ver um pequeno vídeo de Unhais da Serra. A semana passada falei sobre as árvores de Unhais da Serra que foram derrubadas. Hoje vamos ter um bocadinho de tradições de Unhais da Serra acerca dos pastores e é dedicado ao nosso guest. It's dedicated to our guest, this next video. So this video was dedicated to our guest over here, Anthony Fury. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm one of your fans. I must say that when you run for mayor of Toronto, you were over here, and I really appreciate it. And it was easier to get you over here than our Portuguese, Ana Bailão, on our program, and this is a Portuguese program. But somehow you catch our sympathy, and you came, and you said whatever you had to say for the campaign, and it was an excellent. You end up in 4th place, but a lot of people. You were the person who created more talk, and we're going to talk about that now. But first of all, welcome once again, and thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks so much, Manuel. It's so great to be here. You got a great program, and your passion for the issues really comes across. So it's great to be here again. It's great to be back, and you know, I really value all my friends in the Portuguese community here in the Toronto area.
Anthony, we dedicated this little video at the start.
I love
for
it.
you.
It's great. It's great. They're saying come, and they're calling people, and I came. So there you go.
Anthony, I have quite a few questions. It's like talking, anyways. We are just over here to talk. Tell us, how do you feel after 130 days with the new mayor that we have? What's your view about this place called Toronto, the City Hall of Toronto?
Yeah, I mean, Manuel, the reason I ran for mayor in the first place is because I know the city. I love the city. I grew up here. I have my 3 children here. I have real estate here, so I obviously care. You know, and I want it to look great. I want it to be great. I want it to be safe. I want it to be affordable. That's why I ran. And I always said, I wish the new mayor well. We don't agree on all the issues, but I want her to succeed, because if she doesn't succeed, then Toronto doesn't succeed. So we all got to work together. And nothing would make me happier than for her to be doing an amazing job. But unfortunately, I don't think that's the case. We have a lot of challenges on our streets still. Public safety has only gotten worse. Transportation, traffic has only gotten worse. Just the other day, we have more people attacking people to do with the drug crisis. We had this 20-year-old girl downtown, Yonge and Dundas Square, stabbed with a needle. She got the needle for free from the taxpayer. The taxpayer gave the needle to the drug addicts. They stabbed her. They ran off into the subway, and they couldn't be caught. And the poor girl now has to go for tests, because does she have illness and so forth? That sort of stuff is still happening every day. When it comes to transportation, just the other day, Manuel, you know, they voted to remove lanes for major streets, Finch, Jane, Dufferin, Lawrence, Steeles, for only bicycles and buses. Major streets. So I don't think things are going that great. And of course, the property tax, it's going up 10%. Never, ever has it gone up that high. Like, what's going on? And we're reasonable people. If the taxes go up and all the problems are solved, we'll go, oh, okay, they made good use of the dollars.
Yeah.
But are they making good use of every dollar? They're not.
And this is one of the big problems that I find, is every year they increase the taxes. But this year, my goodness, is excessively high. Mayor Chow tried to tell people on a press conference, oh, it's only $1 a day increase. Hang on a second. It's not only, it's $1 a day maybe for a small apartment where they pay, let's say, $2,000 a month. $2,000 a year in taxes. For a person who pays $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year,
lot more.
It's a lot more. It's never mind if it's a little apartment where 1 bedroom or 600 or 700 square feet, they pay that. And she based her thoughts of convincing people that $1 a day, if you live in a small apartment, majority we all know that they don't live in a small apartment, right?
Absolutely.
Majority of people live in houses. And thank God that we can afford the houses. But now, Anthony, give us your view. Do you think a lot of people are going to lose houses because of the high increase of Olivia Chow, or people are going to bite the bullet and still paying?
They have no choice. They have to pay it. But some people, they could be forced out because everything adds up. As you know, mortgage rates are going up. The interest rates are going up. And she might say only $1 a day or $2 or $3 a day, but everything else is getting worse. Gas is going up, the price of food we know has gone up so much. So for the city to willfully decide, we're going to put more costs on you, we're going to make it more difficult for you to pay your bills, I think it's unethical, especially if you haven't gone back and tried to spend every dollar appropriately. You go back, you look at the budget. Are we respecting every dollar? If you're absolutely certain we are, then you can talk about tax increases, but they're not. They haven't done the investigations to make sure they got rid of all waste. They haven't respected the taxpayer dollars. It's a true scandal, and I think people are right to be frustrated. They got to speak up more.
Absolutely. Anthony, the crime, it's on the
awful.
rise. And then they cut off the budget of the police. I mean, I think that's wrong. If anything that needs to be increased, the budget is for the police and the ambulances, the emergency vehicles, on the emergency department, the emergency doctors, and that part has to be increased, not decreased. Give me your opinion about that.
Well, I agree with you. You're right. Right now, there's so many public safety concerns. People don't want to go on the subway anymore. It's always messy, it's dirty, and people are running around doing violence on it. We need the police to respond to it. All the other budget parts have gone up quite a lot, all the other different departments. She's spending the mayor $1 billion more from last year. $1 billion more. One of the number one concerns, policing, and no money for police. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. The money just doesn't add up. And the police chief, I saw the police chief the other day, and he said to me, and he's telling everyone this number, 22-minute response time. 22 minutes to respond to a call. And some people say, oh, he shouldn't be saying that because the bad guys are listening. And then they hear, oh, I got 22 minutes to do the crime.
No,
but you got to sound the alarm.
Exactly,
you got to tell people.
Exactly, Anthony. I totally agree. It has to sound the alarm. It has to tell people the reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
And cutting the budget to the police is one of those things that can happen.
It'll go from 22 minutes to like 23 minutes. Back years ago, you remember there's a movie, Nicolas Cage, Angelina Jolie. It was called Gone in 60 Seconds. And they know the police come in 60 seconds, so they got to steal the car fast. And they time to watch. Now, gone in 22 minutes, so you got 22 minutes to take you. You know, if you want to steal the car, you can have a drink, have a smoke, whatever. And then you go, okay, now we'll leave because the police are like, come on, it's not serious. It's really sad. We got to spend the money on policing.
Anthony, a while ago there was electric bicycle that caught up fire on a subway. I never thought, nowhere in the world that I know, people are allowed to take the bicycle to the subway.
So much smoke. You thought a bomb had gone off.
This could give somebody an idea of doing bad things, you know.
No, and you're right. Why is it allowed on there? E-bikes on the subway. And then you realize you take those... This happened when the train was stopped at the station and the door was open. So people could get out and they could escape. But if it was in the tunnel... When it happened, the smoke fills up so fast, you and your family are on there, the little kids are on there, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to die from smoke inhalation. Yeah. It's wild. So we got to deal with all these e-bikes going everywhere. I get why people want to use them. It's easier, it's cheaper, traffic is terrible right now, but we just can't have this happening. Like, there's no laws anymore. There's no rules in society anymore.
It looks like anywhere we look, everything has gone socialist. I was just saying in Portuguese a while ago, that one area called the Azores. Portugal is formed with the mainland. Then you got Madeira, one of the islands, and the other one is Azores. Now, on the Azores, they had elections last weekend, and the right wing finally won for 5% more. And always the socialists have been in there. A lot of corruption being with the socialists as well on the mainland in Portugal. So what I was saying a while ago, it's about time the corruption finishes. It's about time that people wake up and stop voting socialist. You got to follow the rules according... We don't mind, Anthony, to pay taxes, but as long as our services have been in there for us. And I think lately that the ambulance and the police and everything has been neglected. And I don't know why Olivia Chow doesn't like the police. Tell me about it.
She hasn't for years, for decades. People who were on council with her in like 1991, they told me she didn't like the police then, she doesn't like it now. So she said she's going to create this new crisis worker thing. So you call 911 and instead they send a social worker. And okay, great, maybe if they can do some good, but if there's a guy waving a knife around, you need a police officer to respond to it. That's what you need there. Yeah. She's been anti-police for 40 years, 50 years, her entire life, her whole career. I don't know where it came from. You know, there's a few bad apples, but mostly I meet police officers every day. They're good people, good men and women, and they're doing their job. And it's not an easy job out there. And also, if they're not treated with respect, they're going to leave because of how tough of a job it is.
Exactly, and talking about leave, the Canadian Army, we're changing a little bit of subject, but we're going to go back and forward. The Canadian Army, they have a hard time now to recruit people. Why is it that? What's happening at all levels of the federal and provincial too, and the municipal as well? You know, it's something, it's getting out of control.
Too politically correct, I think. People don't feel good in those institutions. They don't feel like if you work hard, you follow the rules, you get a raise, you get a promotion. Now it's very different. People don't feel comfortable in these bureaucracies anymore. They feel like anything could happen to them.
And we're gonna jump again to to Ottawa when they implemented the hygienical products in the men's washroom. And a lot of those containers were damaged, and there was people opposing. Said, this is army, this is men that you're dealing with. It's not any sort of, it's men, real men. And I think they're losing the shine of being a military. Right?
It's so embarrassing. Like, as you said, talking about the budget, we have so many important issues to deal with, and the one Justin Trudeau wants to deal with is free tampons in a men's washroom, and the world is laughing. There's cartoons all around the world laughing at us. Let's just get serious here. We respect everyone, but we got to take care of these issues.
Anthony, $122 million. It's going to cost to do all of that. Why are we wasting money on that?
I mean, I laugh because you got to. That's the only thing you can do. It's so ridiculous that this is happening. And the folks have to be frustrated with it and speak out more.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that I bring attention to the Portuguese people, what's going on. Because a lot of the times, they might not be aware what's going on in Canada. I'll tell you one thing. 2 years ago, when I was in Portugal, somebody came to me and said, Manuel, what's happening with your prime minister? What's happening with the Freedom Convoy?
Bad reputation.
Demonstration, a free demonstration, a peaceful demonstration. What's happening in their horses and police brutally smacking people? What's happening in Canada? Canada was the shine of the democracy throughout the world. Now Canada is becoming the opposite way.
It's like, this makes me so sad to hear you say this, because it used to be, as you know, you go traveling around the world, you put the little Canada flag on your backpack, and everyone says, hey, it's Canadian, I love this guy. Now you put the flag in your backpack and they come up to you and they say, what's the deal with Canada? Manuel, I got to ask you, because I was writing about this recently in a column, talking about it on the radio. People are leaving Canada.
Yeah.
Both people who have grown up here go, I can't make it work. My friend, him and his girlfriend, she's Japanese, and they're going to move to Japan. He doesn't speak Japanese, he's a white guy, but he says, I'm going to go there because I can't make it work in Canada. Houses are so expensive, everything. More people are moving, and immigrants come here, and then like 5-7 years later, they go, Canada's not what I thought it would be. They leave. And the interesting thing, what I want to ask you about, is a lot of people wrote to me, and a lot of people called in and said they've moved to Portugal. And I noticed it was a phenomenon. So I think that's great to say people want to be there. Why are people going to Portugal?
Well, here is the thing. No doubt that the cost of living over here in Canada is very expensive. And one of the main reasons, you go to Portugal, if you have an apartment or a house in there, you can live in there reasonably with your pension. But what's bad for Canada is the fact that we're losing skilled labor. And losing the skilled labor at this moment when Canada needs the skilled labor, this is no good for the whole Canada. It doesn't matter what province. So this, in a way, it's a really bad condition that we are on. And meanwhile, in Portugal, people, you can survive, you can do good, you can live good, you buy a house. I mean, you sell a house over here in Toronto, let's say $1 million. For that money, or 500, let's say, you buy a nice, beautiful home in Portugal, even on the countryside. You don't have to worry about nothing. The food is, in a way, cheaper. I got to be careful what I'm going to say now. The food is cheaper for us when we go with our money. But for the people in there, Anthony, and understand this, for the people in there, the majority, they make 1,000 euros a month. It's not a week. It's a month. They make $1,000, 1,000 euros. The average already with a good skilled labor, it's already 1,200, 1,300. But generally, it's about 1,000 euros, and you have to have a bit of an education and a good job. So 1,000 euros, paying the taxes in there as well. They pay 23% taxes, and the property taxes, for instance, they're cheap. You have a nice house, maybe 100 euros a year. So there are certain things that compensates with the other. But the fact is, the food, what I was talking about, the food, by the time you go and buy in euros, you have to buy drinks, you have to buy food, you have to pay taxes, you have to buy gas, you have to buy all of this stuff. When it gets to the end of the month, 1,000 euros doesn't go too far. But if you live in Portugal, but if you go from here with the money from here, even though the money is there higher, the currency is higher, but people can survive and can do well. So that is one of the big reasons that people leave, because very expensive in Canada, and I have a good house, a home, or whatever, apartment. I can move in there and live free. The only thing is the family. I thought of that one too, Go home and live there, but then you leave the kids behind. You leave behind the granddaughters. You leave behind the sons and the daughters. So you cannot do that. To me, it doesn't fit me. But to a lot of people, that they actually going back to Portugal, it fits them. That's no problem.
And it's a shame because, to your point, skilled labor, just so many great people. You go, I don't want to lose these people. It makes me sad to hear that people want to leave Toronto. They want to leave Canada. That's why guys like you and me want to fix everything, because we want people to stay.
Anthony, just a few years ago, 2018, 2016, 17, 18, this is one thing, it's news for you, but just for you to be aware what the problems the Portuguese going. I'm the chair of Undocumented Workers Committee. And Ahmad Hussein, you remember Ahmad Hussein, used to be the Minister of Immigration, Naval Federal. And Ahmad Hussein deported many Portuguese families that were working, paying taxes, no criminal record, with a lot of them family being born over here, with kids being born over here. And they're not supposed to deport parents with the kids born over here, but they did. They went against the Supreme Court in Ottawa.
Why did they do it then? If people are net contributors, meaning they're contributing to society.
Exactly, and there we go. That's the part that upset me so much. And just, for instance, some people, majority of them came under the contract, the working contract, working on construction, mostly of them. And as the contract finished for 3 years, then they had to go back home. Oh, but a lot of the companies say, you're an excellent worker, man. I cannot let my company go down. I need you.
So the document expires, but they stay for work.
They stay for work and paying taxes.
So when they first came, they didn't even come illegally. They didn't cross illegally.
They came legally.
Document expires.
Yeah, they came legally. A lot of them, not all of them. A lot of them, they came legally with a working permit and everything. 3 years expired. Now they had to go out. But the company said, please don't go, man. We need you. And we're talking about many companies that I know personally. So then was a case that the fact that they could not, a lot of them, the contract was renewed, but they could not get the permanent residence because of the English language test. And the English language test was so hard, probably if I write it, I would not pass. And I don't know if I could pass. But anyways, never mind for someone who's in the country for 3 or 4 years. Now, after that, when I told Ahmad Hussein several times, said we need to eliminate the language request so people can get the permanent residence. 2019, Justin Trudeau, in one local 183 festivities, the Day of the Family in July, he said, okay, I'll give 500 permanent residents to work in construction that they are illegal. So he gave the 500, but after 2 years, 2019, when the elections came again, only 60 people or 40 people had passed because of the test. So on that night, the Liberals were elected. We sent almost 300 emails, including the Prime Minister's office. We sent to them and said, we got to eliminate the language request because you cannot get more people. So they eliminate the language request for those 500 in 2 weeks. And then they increased again the 500 to another, so it was 1,000 people that they're going to get the permanent resident. They don't know who worked for it. It doesn't matter. God knows how much we work for them. And that's the important part. Now, Ahmad Hussein, on the other hand, several times he said that he likes the Portuguese community, hard workers and this and that. And then I told him several times, I said, how many people are you going to deport next week? If they give you dinner over here at Local 183, if they give you dinner and these festivities, they also give you time to talk on a microphone. And yet, how many families are you going to deport to Portugal next year? It could not. It just said, Manuel, I don't want to answer. That's it. And several times, not just once, several times. And people that were at the table, they said, oh, no, I know who's Manuel Alexandre. They came later on. No, I know who's Manuel Alexandre. And they said, thank you for standing up for our Portuguese people.
I mean, we want everybody to be able to get along. Ideally, we'll help people speak English as best as they can so we can all get along. Yeah. It's important to have the English language programs. But I think, we're not talking about people, like, we got a lot of people crossing illegally, Roxham Road, the Mexico border, and that's not sustainable. But if people come here legally in the first place, you said no criminal record, net contributor, raising a family, paying taxes, no criminal record. Come on, we need to build things, we need workers. So I think we can find we can find some middle ground here.
But I could never find the middle ground with Ahmad Hussein, and to me was one of the worst ministers of immigration. And this is said by Manuel Alexandre, it's my opinion only, that he was one of the worst ministers of immigration that Canada ever had. I'm in Canada 47 years, and I've been around, know what's going on, and this is one of the parts that disappoint me a lot. Then you got Mark Miller, then you had Sean. I mean, they tried to do something, but, the Liberals are not aware of what's going on.
What do you think we should do with the immigration policy right now? 'Cause
Number
the
one.
GTA, there's the housing, the transportation, a lot of it has to do with numbers. So they're bringing down the international student numbers for the next couple of years. But how are we going to find the balance?
I think, Anthony, and this is a good question for me to ask you, but let me give my opinion, is this. Every time they have refugees, every time they have undocumented, and they go on register on a CRA or whatever, immediately should be given a number so they can start to pay taxes and they can start to work.
Integrate them right away
Integrate
into
them
society.
immediately in a society instead of going to hotels, 4-star and 5-star, and destroying the hotels. Immediately they should be given an opportunity to start to work. That's how I started when I came to Canada.
And they were working that way in their home country just before they come here, the refugees.
Exactly.
They were all working the day before they came.
So this is one way that they could eliminate a lot of these expenses. Like last year, the last 1 year, from last year until 2023, was $760 million spent on undocumented, on refugees.
And some of the hotels near the airport, on Kingston Road, they've ruined those stretches because the hotels aren't vibrant anymore. Travelers don't go to them. And to your point, people are isolated. They don't have a car. They're not going to work. It's a sad situation. So you're right, getting people involved in society from day one.
Anthony, we're going to go to a small commercial. We'll be right back.
Welcome to GOlive TV, the first intercultural IPTV station that broadcasts over 50 shows in 22 different languages. Here at GOlive TV, you can now book your event at our venue. We have green screens, multiple sets and backdrops, including a fully equipped kitchen and a news studio, a photography booth, podcast and radio station, a stage with a 9x14-foot video wall, and much more. Book our studio now. GOlive TV, the only multimedia one-stop shop, offering everything you need to take your event to the next level.
Okay, bem-vindos novamente. Welcome again to the third stage already on the program. This goes fast, eh, Anthony? Anthony, thank you. Anthony, all the construction that we're having around, the Eglinton subway, other constructions that takes forever, what do you think it's something is missing in there with Metrolinx? Give us your opinion about it.
Leadership, management, accountability. There's a lot of things, Manuel, that they do in the private sector to get a project done that they're not doing here. This is a scandal, a massive boondoggle. The Metrolinx program, the Eglinton Crosstown LRT is so over budget, 4 years late already. My favorite example I give, JFK, John F. Kennedy. He says in 1962, we're going to put a man on the moon by 1970. They do it 1 year sooner. They get it done. They managed to go from zero to putting someone on the moon in 7 years. Here, we can't even build a basic LRT line in twice that. And we build LRTs everywhere. It's unbelievable. People need to be fired. And also, there needs to be penalties if the contractors can't perform. And they all want excuses. They want us to apologize for them. Oh, it's difficult. Oh, it's hard. What's going on? They're doing this all over the world in other countries. They're getting things built. We got to hold people's feet to the fire. And city council always accepts it. Every few months, Metrolink says, oh, well, there's another delay. Oh, well, there's nothing. We go, okay, and we take, no. We got to get angry about it. That's when I was mayor, when I was running for mayor, I said, I'm going to sue Metrolinx for $1 billion to light a fire under their ears, to get them going, sue them for damages, because they're damaging the city by not getting this done. We got to speak up more. And they're doing other transit lines, and we need more transit. So I support these lines being built, but the way we're approaching this, the management style, is unacceptable. People in the private sector, they go, I don't believe it. They go, if this was me, I would have been fired from my job.
Yeah, absolutely. The private sector, if takes care of something, immediately gets done. But when it's through the government, it's nothing but big problems. And I don't think that things are going to look are going to go any faster. Anthony, I'm going to ask you something else. What were the main aspects that divide you, that you feel in your heart? And I know which ones they are, but I want you to tell the people the main things in your heart that would be better for Toronto that you would do if you were elected as a mayor.
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity. Manuel, one thing that I will say is running for mayor, you only love your city even more. Because there are so many communities in this city that are so amazing. So you go around, you meet everybody, it's full of good people. And you knock on doors and they just say, come in, sit down, have a meal with our family. I go, these people don't even know me. And they're being so nice and kind to me. So it's an amazing city. Some of the things I'm really passionate about, one of the big issues I'm so passionate about. I used to live downtown in a condo near Moss Park. Very nice building. I lived in a nice condo building. We had our baby there. And just a couple blocks away, Moss Park, there's all these people doing hard drugs. They're doing heroin, they're doing fentanyl, and it's so sad. Their lives are just a mess, and they had some problems growing up in their life that have turned them to drugs. And what do we do as a government, as a society? We just give them the needles to do the drugs. We're now giving them free drugs. In British Columbia, they're giving out free heroin, free fentanyl, and now they say they want to bring it here. These people, we deserve better, because these people, when they're troubled on drugs, they go around, they commit crimes, they're stealing left, right, and center so they can buy more drugs. They're not with it. Their minds are totally disturbed right now. It's so physical and healthy. They're having overdoses. Ambulances are driving everywhere. And we don't want that for these people. We're compassionate people. We care. And yet the socialists just want to keep them there on the street, being violent, doing drugs, us paying for it. Turn it all around. I said, no, we're not doing this anymore. No more giving out the drugs. No more giving out the needles. Instead, treatment centers. We see them. We say, you matter. You have a life. You have people who care about you. Done. We're going to clean you up. Come on. Let's get you in treatment. And a lot of places are doing this. And we talk about Portugal. Yeah. And, the socialists, the left wing, they used to say, oh, we got to be more like Portugal, because Portugal decriminalizes many drugs. And I go, okay, but you know better than me. You understand this way better than I do. What also happens in Portugal is
rehabilitate them.
Rehabilitate. They say, fine, we won't treat you like a criminal. We're not going to throw you in jail, but we're going to rehabilitate you. We're going to get your life. And here we don't do that. We just say, here's the drugs, have fun. And then they die, they commit crimes. And it brings the whole standard of society down. In the parks, my children, they go to play in the park. And I go, you can't play here because there's needles in the park. I see needles in the park all the time. And it's not getting any better. It's such a tragedy. And I'm so passionate about that, because I know you've seen those videos in the U.S., San Francisco and Oakland, Vancouver,
Chicago.
These cities are falling apart. It's so sad. These are our lives here. I love this city. We got to deal with this problem.
Definitely, and I must say you were the only one referring to the drug cases. The other people, they did not even touch
the
drugs.
They're scared of it.
Yeah, they're scared. But you had the guts, you had the courage to say, no, we have to do something for our city. We have to do immediately, put Toronto in the map again of #1 city in the world. What do you think? Do you think we are still #1 in the world, or our...
Look, I don't, like I said, I love the city, so I don't want to say bad things about the city, but we all know. We all know it's not good. One meeting I'll never forget, I met with the Greater Toronto Hotel Association. It's a group that represents all the managers of the hotels downtown. And they said that it used to be visitors come to Toronto, they stay in the hotel. So you come in for business conference, you come in for tourism, but now the business people come here And they look around, they go, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. Toronto's kind of dirtier. And they go, I'm stuck in traffic, I can't get around. So maybe the businessman was going to open a plant in Toronto or an office. But they go, yeah, I'm going to take a pass. And then the tourists, they're coming here, oh, I heard so much about Toronto and Canada, it's clean, everyone's nice. And then they get here and go, what is this? What am I seeing on my streets? So we are getting that bad reputation. Like you said, you're in Portugal, someone comes up to you, they said, what's with Justin Trudeau?
Exactly.
Stopping protesters, what's with the standard there? So it's declining. It's so tragic. I love the city, but we are slowly going downhill. We got to act soon. We can't wait until it's like San Francisco. Then it's too late. Those cities are falling apart. We got to act now.
Anthony, I'm enjoying really a lot this conversation with you.
Me
I
too.
really enjoy. Now,
Because we're both passionate about the issues.
exactly. Let's talk about Alberta, where the premier, Daniela Smith, they came up with a strong statement against what's happening with the young generation in schools and what they want to do towards changes, sexual changes on the kids. They want to do things. They want to educate kids before the pronouns. They want to do everything that at the conscience of a normal person, it's unbelievable. So is Daniela Smith right what she's doing?
Absolutely.
And can you clarify that a little bit more, because you are into more than me?
She's right. She's a true leader. All she has said. So right now, there's all this transgender stuff. So people changing the genders. And look, someone's an adult, they're in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s. Maybe it's not something you do yourself, but you go, well, if an adult really wants to do this, okay. But a kid? And the system's going to do it to a kid? So all Danielle Smith has said, you can't do this as a kid. The health system will not do it because they take these pills, puberty blockers, hormone blockers.
Is like that.
So, if a 11-year-old, 12-year-old girl takes the pills, it means she won't grow breasts and so forth. And let's just pause and time out. And so much of it has happened. It's happened very quickly. It was like 0. Now hundreds of kids are doing it, taking these things. And we just want to time out and balance it and also respect the family a bit more.
Absolutely.
Because
that's why they put the limit on the age, right?
Absolutely. You got to put a limit on the age. I respect free choice. People are going to do all these different things. Okay. But when it comes to kids, we gotta have some common sense here.
Absolutely.
It's that simple. So Danielle Smith, and the polls show regular people back her. There's just people in the media are just going bananas over it, but everybody knows, all politics, everybody knows left wing, right wing, and all the different communities. They still understand that she's just talking about common sense.
It's
not
absolutely, and one of the facts that I see a lot on the Toronto Star, which I canceled my subscription yesterday. For 25 years, I got that paper every day. It upsets me so much. Every day is always supporting the left wing. And that is, for instance, they had a big article a couple of weeks ago, a couple of Sundays, about Justin Trudeau. And every time they have an article about Pierre Poilievre, is always knocking him down. Come on, it makes you sick. And
they did it to me. They were attacking me, and they said he's this extreme far-right monster. It's common sense. You know what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Dealing
common
with drug
sense,
crisis, getting traffic moving, and they call you names for it, but we can't be deterred because we know we just care about families, we care about our community, and they can say what they want because we know what we're doing is right.
Common sense, that's what's missing in this politics of today with the political correctness that the world is trying to follow. It's destroying the world. This is my opinion. I don't know if you think the same way.
Well, no, because with political correctness, you mentioned the Danielle Smith issue and all the gender stuff. Everybody knows that she's doing the balanced, moderate, caring thing, but political correctness makes people afraid to speak out. And it's a shame, and that's why some of these more bizarre socialist things start happening, because regular people, they feel bullied. They feel like they're going to be attacked if they speak out, and that's unfortunate, because everybody should be able to have their say.
It's interesting that I deal with a lot of people. My profession, I'm an electrician and electrical contractor. I go to many places servicing the machines. And a lot of people tell me, Manuel, every time I see certain figures like Justin Trudeau on the TV, I immediately changed. I said, hang on a second. I thought I was the only one doing that. I said, no, I've been doing that forever. So there we go. It's a lot of people that they don't even know that I'm a conservative guy, right? They just talk to me and say, man, I cannot see that guy on TV. I changed the channel. And that's what I thought. that's what I'm doing too. So it's a lot of people that seeing the fact that the way that we are guiding now Canada is a destruction of Canada. But thank God the elections are next year, if not before, and things, I'm sure, has to be changed. Has to be changed, Anthony. And talking about next year elections, Anthony, I'm going to ask you, do you have in mind to run? We need let's put it this way, we need someone with a conscience, a person like you, to run for Member of Parliament in Ottawa. Do you have any plans to run, or do you rather run again for mayor? Expand a little bit on that.
Sure, I'll be totally, transparent. I love the federal issues, and I'm very engaged in those issues when I talk about it and I write about it. But I don't think I will be running to be an MP. I'm very passionate about the city, and I think there's a very good chance I'll be running for mayor again. I think people would like a clear choice.
Yeah.
Do you like the vision that Olivia Chow is putting forward? Do you believe we need to take more roads away and just put them as bike lanes and bus lanes? Do you want more drug sites out there? Do you want the highest tax increase ever? Or do you want common sense? And I think if there's a clear choice, maybe just two clear candidates, I think people will choose the common sense candidate. So I love this city, and I'm still going to spend the next couple of years supporting causes, meeting with different groups, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And another thing, I know you're a radio host too. I've enjoyed it every moment I have to listen to you as well. Between 9 and 12 o'clock on 6:40 a.m. Anthony Fury is there many times, replacing Alexa Pearson, which is great. And the topics that he brings in there is exactly the same, hot as it is right now over here. And I love it. And Anthony, it's the passion, it's the honesty that makes a good politician. And I think you have those properties, and that's why I love to hear your show. And Jerry Agar, I like to hear him as well.
Yeah, Jerry's great.
And he's great too. And I was telling about the paper. I canceled the Toronto Star after 25 years. And I'm going to sign, I subscribe already, the Toronto Sun. The Toronto Sun, you read it, you don't get upset. You read what's going on.
Right.
And the Toronto Star, it just boils me up. So I say, it's about time. Yeah, and Anthony, the past 6 years, that newspaper was a very prestigious paper.
Absolutely.
No, but the past 6 years, it's terrible. So whatever journalist you have there, everything is left-wing.
Yeah.
Come on, especially on a paper like that. Give it a chance. Balance both sides. Left, right, left. You have to balance it. It's not, for instance, like my show over here. I'm a conservative, and I'll pull for the conservative, and I let people know why I vote for conservative, why I trust the conservative. This is my thing. But I'm journalist in Portuguese language, mostly my program, and it's different than a newspaper, a nation's newspaper. You have to have a balance in that on the articles, and that's what Toronto Star is missing.
The media has changed in recent years, and I think one thing we're seeing more and more is people are getting their news from a whole different variety of places. It used to be one or two media outlets control the narrative, they control how people access news, not anymore. Some people get their news through just looking at their phone on TikTok or on Instagram. Others still read the newspaper, but the numbers are lower than ever. Fewer people than ever watch CBC. They go to other places. They're going to online streaming, watching your program. I know you have more and more viewers. It's a great program, and I know more and more people tune in. So different outlets. People are accessing in different ways.
Anthony, anything else you'd like to address our community? You have 1 minute something to address the Portuguese and whatever you want to say.
Oh, thanks so much. I love the Portuguese community, Manuel, but I mean, primarily my main message is that better is possible and that we can together stand up for common sense policies, that free speech still matters in Canada, so we can take a stand on the issues that matter to us. And don't let them tell you you're a radical, because we're not. We're just regular guys who care about family, community, cleaning up the streets, and that's what we're doing. And everybody should feel that their voice matters.
And growing a family over here, it's not easy, is it? Right now, the way it is, with all these left-wing theories, the genders, and all of that stuff that before was not part. When we went to school, is to learn the ABC, is to learn the math, is to learn geography, to learn history, to learn all of those subjects. That
Don't
was
get me started on the school system. I know we don't have much time. I could rant about the school system forever because it's not like it used to be, and I'm worried for the kids. We got to get back on track and the core subjects for all kids. So all kids of all backgrounds, they can all succeed together. That's what we need.
Tony, Anthony, can you promise that you'll come back soon again, probably middle of March to the end of March?
Well, I always love speaking with you, Manuel, so let's do it. It's been great to appear on the program.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure. Pois, meus amigos, acabamos assim de falar com Anthony Fury, uma personagem, portanto, aqui de Toronto, bem conhecida também, além de estar no rádio 640 no AM, também é jornalista, escreve excelentes artigos para o jornal Apple Times, eu leio também semanalmente, é uma categoria de jornal muito informativo e é assim que a gente precisa que as pessoas esclareçam a nossa comunidade, nos digam o que é que se dá de errado e como é que se há de resolver, como é que se hão de ter resoluções para isto tudo. De maneira que, meus amigos, por hoje é tudo. Até para a semana, se Deus quiser. Para a semana iremos ter a intervenção direta do José Cesário, Dr. José Cesário, que irá estar connosco, e o nosso amigo Juliano de Luca, diretamente da Casa da Madeira, às 5 horas, entrará em direto aqui nos nossos estúdios para falarmos com o Dr. José Cesário, que está a concorrer também do ADN, para representante da ADN, da lista fora da Europa. E depois também iremos passar mais tarde um bocadinho também da entrevista com a Paula Madeiros, que também está na mesma lista, e que na segunda-feira vou fazer uma programação com ela para que possamos saber exatamente as intenções da Paula Madeiros, porque ela tem sido também um pilar na nossa comunidade, um pilar do PST e um pilar também para ajudar os nossos portugueses. Meus amigos, até para a semana, se Deus quiser, vai ser uma intervenção extraordinária. Tchau! God bless everyone. Deus abençoe a todos nós.
This is our life.